Tasmania. Tassie tiger legends.
Jesus, Murphy.
Striped Demon had a taste for wallabies, almost 150 of them. We knew he'd be coming back, so we picked him up just at dawn as he was coming down his regular path. Just like catching him on his way to work. Stinky Pete killed 350 chickens, 121 emus, 12 devils, 44 numbats, and a platypus. I needed those chickens to sell to the sealers, whalers, and loggers. Stinky can have the devils and numbats. He's welcome to the platypus too. In 1888, the Tasmanian government introduced a bounty of £1 per full-grown animal and 10 shillings per juvenile animal destroyed. The program extended until 1909 and resulted in more than 2,180 bounties.
Jesus, Murphy. Bloody hell.
Tasmania. Tassie tiger legends.
Jesus, Murphy.
Striped Beauty, said to be the wife of Striped Demon, but unconfirmed. They did have a son together known as Hobart Harry, known for raiding the fish barns along the coast for many seasons. Stinky George was the name of the guy who shot a thylacine known as the Leaper. The Leaper was the fastest known tiger, according to Stinky George, who hung on him like a bad smell before bringing him down. On September 7, 1936, only 2 months after the species was granted protected status, the last known thylacine died from exposure at Beaumaris Zoo in Hobart. It is estimated there were around 5,000 thylacines in Tasmania at the time of European settlement.
Jesus, Murphy. Bloody hell.
Tasmania. Tassie tiger legends.
Jesus, Murphy.
Lagunta was the most wily of all the legendary thylacines. He was said to exhibit the habits of a wolf by tracking his prey relentlessly before jumping on its back to take it down. Fetch was reputed to be the first thylacine that learned how to play the game of fetch. Unfortunately, he found his way on to the land of the local boomerang maker. It is estimated that at least 3,500 thylacines were killed through human hunting between 1830 and the 1920s. The introduction of competitive species such as wild dogs, foreign diseases including mange, and extensive habitat destruction also greatly contributed to thylacine population losses.
Jesus, Murphy. Bloody hell.
Tasmania. Tassie tiger legends.
Jesus, Murphy.
Benjamin, now synonymous with the last captive thylacine, originates from recollections of a Mr. Frank Darby, who claimed in an interview with the naturalist Graham Pizzi that he had been the animal's keeper. Grandma is the big specimen in the middle that the professors used to clone all future thylacines. Can you clone both male and female thylacines from a female clone? Can you? Wilfred Batty of Mobana, Tasmania, is credited with the last thylacine known to have been shot in the wild. He claimed to have shot it in May 1930, after discovering it in his henhouse. Is that the truth, Willie?
Jesus, Murphy. Bloody hell.
Tasmania. Tassie tiger legends.
Jesus, Murphy.
Despite the export of breeding pairs, attempts at rearing thylacines in captivity were unsuccessful, and the last thylacine outside Australia died at the London Zoo in 1931. It was London Lizzie, the wife of Tassie Phil, who died 6 months early. Pamplemousse, seen here in a preserved state, was the queen of the Paris Zoo. They had daily reports about her health in the news and whether or not they had found a mate for her. She was offered to London, but they refused and called her a hussy. There was a conservation movement since 1901, driven in part by the increasing difficulty in obtaining specimens for overseas collections. Official protection of the species by the Tasmanian government came on July 10, 1936, 59 days before the last known specimen died in captivity. Not so good on you, mate.
Jesus, Murphy. Bloody hell.
Fat Tail was a legendary tiger that stalked the same group of farms for almost 10 years. The farmers claimed he was eating 2 chickens a week when his wife had joeys. Jaws often confronted settlers and their families. A group of 40 settlers stalked him for more than a week before they boxed him in a canyon. He inflicted wounds in several of his pursuers. While it had a vicious appearance, Tasmanian tigers were actually very timid and could be captured without a fight. They would often die suddenly, perhaps from going into shock.
Jesus, Murphy. Bloody hell.
Cornelis van der Laan. Claim to fame, thylacine hunter.
Cornelis van der Laan led the charge against the thylacine, and may have had a bigger impact on the future of the species than any other pastoralist. No records could be found of his transportation to Van Diemen's Land, and his relatives claimed his ancestors were Dutch settlers who had been there for more than 100 years. His reports of thylacine killing his sheep helped swing the pendulum against the striped tiger, as did the almost 1,200 bounties he collected. He claimed when he killed Tiger Queen that she had killed 350 of his chickens, 3 emus, 12 devils, 4 numbats and a platypus. How he knew that nobody knows. I needed those chickens, but he can have the rest of M. Tigers are pests. Leave M for the devils. He was quoted as saying,
Jesus, Murphy.
Stinky Steve Mackenzie. Claim to fame, convict, settler, killed striped demon. Steve Mackenzie arrived on the Indefatigable with his 3 brothers from Ireland, where they were convicted of robbery and sentenced to transportation to Van Diemen's Land. Eventually, after serving his time, Steve Mackenzie was a free man. He spent his life living on the Jane River and making fortune as a prospector. He did also enjoy hunting thylacine for the £1 bounty. He was credited with killing striped demon, a thylacine that had a taste for wallabies, almost 150 of them if rumors were true. After years on the Jane, he got the name Stinky Steve because he didn't need to care whether he was upwind or downwind because he smelled like a thylacine after eating so many wallabies himself. Other kills included Fat Tail, Striped Wind, and Evil Eye. His brothers eventually found his camp on the Jane River, and it said they robbed him of his gold and left him for dead in 1850.
Jesus, Murphy.
Norbert Knobhorst. Claim to fame, settler, tiger jerky. Norbert Knobhorst created a product he called tiger jerky from dried thylacine meat. He claimed it was cured for 9 months and included spices unique to the area and mushrooms that could be found nowhere else. It was an eclectic taste that some of the European crowd of the day appreciated. Norbert was hoping to ship it to Europe. No one knows exactly how many thylacines flowed through the jerky grinders. Butcher shops in Launceston and Hobart carried many of his cured meat products until the decline of the tiger population. Norbert found it hard to keep up with demand and offered a bigger bounty. He was accused of using half-devil in some of his later offerings. I tried other substitutes, but nothing was as tasty as tiger jerky, he was quoted as saying.
Jesus, Murphy.